Hi, I'm Don Victory, the founder and chair of Energy Mentors, and I'm so happy to be here to talk with the winners of the inaugural Energy Innovators Award, our grand prize in Power the Community competition. This is Team Creativity and Sustainability with team members Rosemary Moyo and Shai Verma. So welcome everybody. The challenge that was put out to the international college community was to reimagine the energy infrastructure for a new community of 2,000 families that was affordable for the combined salaries of a nurse and a school teacher of the people living in that house. And the students were to pick a piece of real estate in the world, identify community needs, and come up with solutions that would advance energy prosperity and sustainability. And so I'm so proud to be here with Rosemary and Shai. And so I'm going to start out by asking these two a little bit about their journey. Where did they go to undergraduate school? Where do they attend now? And how did they make their journey? So Rosemary, I'll start with you.
Hello, so I'm Rosemary Moyo and I am a Zimbabwean. I grew up in Zimbabwe. I'm a Zimbabwean by descent and Botswana by birth. I grew up in a city called Kwekwe, which is a very small city, which is at times referred to the city of gold because of lots of mining in the city. I went to a primary school called Finchley from my first grade to seventh grade, which is different when you look at the American system. That's why I did my primary school. And then I went to high school for the first 4 years at a mission school, an Anglican mission school called St. Patrick's High School. That's where I did all my 4 years, which in my country we call ordinary level or Form 4. And then I got a scholarship to go to an A-level school that was a scholarship school for science students. The school is called USAP Community School under the United States Achievers Program, which is a program within a nonprofit called Education Matters, which is led and was founded by Rebecca Ziegler Mano. So I did my 2 years of Form 5 and Form 6. Within those 2 years, I was being taught more about science fairs, thinking skills, thinking outside of the box. And through that school, I got the scholarship to go to the University of Connecticut through one of our donors, who was the president of Chobani, called Kevin Burns. He is the reason why I'm at UConn and my tuition is paid, as well as my good education that I get at UConn. I got to learn about energy mentors in the Worth meeting. I'm also a Worth innovator within the Worth Institute at UConn. So we were having a weekly meeting with the juniors and the sophomores. So this lady called Julia Gary was talking about the Energy Mentors program and the Power Community competition. And she was saying UConn did not have a team, which to me was shocking, but I was very interested. And I said, well, could you please share the Power Community competition with me? I could liaise a team, come up with a team, and we could participate or even have two teams. And she agreed. So after learning about the competition, I then looked at one of my good friends and I saw Shai as a perfect fit to be my teammate. So I informed Shai and she was enthusiastic about joining the team. And that's how we participated in part of the community.
Interesting. So Shai, let's hear about your journey in education. Where did you receive your primary education? And I hear you're now at the University of Connecticut. How did you get there? And a little bit more about how you started with this project with Rosemary, please.
Sure. So, uh, I actually grew up in Rohtak, which is a small city in Haryana, in the northern part of India, and I have been there since my birth, like brought up over there with the culture and everything. And an interesting thing about me is that my mom and dad, they're from the same city. They lived in the same city for like the entire times of their lives. And I also grew up there, went to primary school. It was like a small school for kids. and like it's in the local community. So I have been like incorporated into the local community and culture since my birth. After that, I went to a bigger school, you can say, in third grade and stayed there till 12th grade. So that's kind of a culture in India that most of the schools, they have all the grades in just one school. So you don't have to shift to other schools. So I stayed there up till 12th grade. And in 11th grade, I chose STEM as my field. So I studied physics, chemistry, mathematics, computer science. And that's how I got into computer science in the first place. So I did all my education, like the primary, the middle school, and the high school in the same school. And after that, my dad shifted to the United States. So I was also keen to have some learning opportunities abroad so that I can widen my horizon and explore more opportunities. So in 11th grade, I started looking for colleges in the US. I applied to a bunch of schools, and for in my list, UConn was the best option I could go to. It had a variety of options. Plus, the campus, it is huge yet a beautiful campus, and I knew that I was gonna meet a lot of nice people over there with whom I can be with for like friends with, as well as I can explore more opportunities with them. And as a coincidence, I met Rosemary at the orientation, which was a pretty nice incident. Like we were a group of friends just like sitting together in the dining hall, and that's how I met. And I got to know that we live in the same building. So that was the most surprising part, that we live in the same building. So we walked back together, and that's how we first met. After that, throughout the first semester, we used to meet in the dining hall because we lived in the same building a lot. And at the beginning of the spring semester, I suppose, she met me in the dining hall again, and she was like, I am doing this project. Are you interested in it? I'm like, yes, it sounds interesting. Let's do it together. So we kind of agreed on meeting every Sunday, 8 a.m. in the Buckley lawn. And I pretty much like enjoyed those things, enjoyed those mornings with her. Like it was pretty nice. Then we also had some research in the library. We used to meet for the project over the campus. So it was a pretty interesting journey since how I got connected with Rosemary, and we were just doing this project throughout the same semester.
Fascinating. So one grew up in Zimbabwe, another in northern India. You made your way to the University of Connecticut. You met at orientation. You got exposed to an opportunity. You broke apart time to meet once a week on Sunday mornings at 8 a.m. And you put together a compelling entry into the competition. That's just a fascinating journey. Rosemary, you got exposed to the information by your association with the Worth Institute at the University of Connecticut. How did you start thinking about putting together a solution? The first requirement was to pick a piece of real estate in the world and design around the needs of that community. So Rosemary, tell us how you approach that.
So when it came to thinking about the solution, when I thought about Shai, I thought about her country, which I had no exact clue about, but I also had a good clue about my country, and I knew that my country and her country have some similarities within. They might not be the same countries, but we do relate in some instances. So when I now looked at Zimbabwe, I was looking at places within my city. So not fun fact, but it's a fact. Ndizo is a high density suburb within Zimbabwe, Kwekwe. And due to the load shedding schemes, there's lots of load shedding. At times, people see electricity in the middle of the night. Then by 3 a.m. or 4 a.m., no electricity. And then you spend the whole day without electricity. And I was just thinking that I would love to pick an area where we would love to make a solution that could help people, because the lack of electricity, it not only affects within the household, it also affects students within the nearby schools. So already I was thinking, we should make a plan for Zimbabwe. But I'd also love to hear Shai's end of the bargain. So when I decided on my country, I also talked to Shai and asked Shai how she feels about the land within her country. And then she explained to me how she feels about it. Then one of the reasons why we ended up choosing Zimbabwe was because of the air quality. So we saw that here the air quality was a little bit better than the air quality in her area. Also, we looked at the prices of the stands of the lands that we were to develop houses on. We didn't want to develop a plan for expensive housing. So that was our main criteria in developing the solution.
So Shai, is there parallels between the kind of conditions that you selected to design in Zimbabwe and your own background?
Well, yes, it was because India in general, from where I live, I know a lot about my area, and I found out that there is kind of a lack of land due to which the real estate prices were so high that we couldn't afford a sustainable housing because we also wanted to lower the cost of living over there. So that's why we ended up choosing Zimbabwe. The real estate prices as well as the air quality, as Rosemary mentioned, those were the primary reasons that we chose Zimbabwe over India. Also, there were a lot of more opportunities in Zimbabwe, especially in Kwekwe, because of many locally available resources which we could utilize for a sustainable community. So that was the parallel from my perspective of choosing Zimbabwe over India.
Okay, Shai, I'm going to come back to you with this question because one thing that strikes me, if I remember correctly, Rosemary is a biomedical engineering student and you're a computer science student, and you're talking about energy and you're talking about construction. So your majors are not necessarily directly connected with what people think about in terms of construction solutions or engineering solutions. So what challenges did you see ahead of you, and what gave you the courage and the confidence to attack it?
Right. So most of our work involved in this project was related to some sort of energy engineering and you can say urban planning, architecture, construction again. So we can say that we have had a strong foundation in chemistry. And I think so that chemistry and material sciences, they go hand in hand. Unless you don't know about chemistry, you cannot certainly learn about material sciences. So both Rosemary is a biomedical engineering major, of course. So she had a strong foundation in chemistry, and I have had this kind of knowledge about chemistry from my high school because we prepare for an engineering exam which focuses on physics, chemistry, and mathematics. So I had a pretty much knowledge about what are the structures we can use, whatever materials can be used for the building of a community at a micro level. So like how we design the houses. For example, we use fly ash bricks. So we research about that and about the materials used in it. So I think so the major actually doesn't have any kind of influence in what we did, but instead it was our creativity, it was our will to make a sustainable community. So most of the time it's said that whatever you study will definitely be useful into your life, but most of the time it's the preliminary education which is most important, I think so.
That's very inspiring that you folks look beyond whatever boundaries or paradigms most people would think, that you looked at your foundation of skills and you picked something that you wanted to attack and use that foundation of skills to go attack it. So that's really inspiring to hear. Rosemary, let's talk a little bit about the aspirations of your design what you were trying to achieve with regard to electricity reliability, sustainability, affordability, and the affordability of the community. So can you talk a little bit about the design selections you made in order to achieve the aspirations of that community?
So for designs, our first key factor was to make sure we designed the house allow solar panels to absorb as much energy as can. So we made sure our white so that we could have enough solar energy absorption. That was the first one. The second one was when designing was having a traditional home, something that will not look alien or too complex when people move into the household. So most households have 3 bedrooms. The bedroom, the kids' bed, and the guest room has a toilet, a separate toilet, a separate bathroom, a separate kitchen, a separate sitting area, and a separate dining room. Those are some things that we incorporated because every and each household, whether it's in the high density suburb or low density suburb, they will have that structure. Of course, the houses within the low density suburbs will have a lot more space, extra rooms, but an average household has those number of rooms. One of the other things that we were taking into consideration when making the design of the household is adding a veranda on the outside and how wide the veranda is going to be because it's hot in my country. So instead of just a small, do they call it a patio? A small patio. We have large verandas where people can sit and just chat or get some fresh air. We also included for ventilation, instead of ACs, we had the normal vents that we have in households. So not every household can afford the electricity bills for ACs, and electricity is not reliable. So our buildings have these vents in the walls. If I look into my house even right now, we have about 2 vents on one side of the wall, and they're all over the house all so that air can in and go out as it pleases, and no one is suffocated, and the temperatures are cold, like currently right now in Zimbabwe is in the winter. We do not close those vents. We leave it, but we put on more jackets and more blankets, and people switch on heater as needed, or they carry around, well, we could say an ancient type of heater that you put charcoal in it, and then you warm yourself, or you get yourself a hot water bottle, then you warm your hands. Those are some of the things that we're trying to design. We're also trying to incorporate not only the roofs that would allow maximum solar absorption, sunlight absorption, we're trying to make sure that within our household, the way we design the household, it won't be a problem when it comes to cabling of the appliances within the household, be it the solar or have the gas within the kitchen or just the electricity on its own, because our solar panels decided to make them off grid. So whether the electricity is there or it's not there, you still have your solar power.
Wow, fascinating. So you lived in harmony with the culture. You lived in harmony with the current level of prosperity, but you raised the bar because now you're providing a much more secure electricity with the solar, with the battery backup. So, and I imagine that's to run essential services like a refrigerator and internet connection and those type of things. So people can plug.
Television,
Go ahead.
yes. Oh, yes, and television, of course. And some of the things that I had forgotten was that besides our design, we were making a design that would still allow us to use fly ash, as Shai had mentioned, which we thought was a good cement replacement. And I just discovered when I came back home this week, my mom just told me that we have a company in Kwekwe that's currently producing fly ash near the power station.
Now, I was going to ask Shai about the fly ash to cement. So, because one of the things is you have to build the community. So, Shai, can you give us some more background on that?
Yes, definitely. So, fly ash basically is made up of from the natural resources. For example, in a thermal power plant, the powders or any kind of incinerations which have caused the burning of coal. So it leaves an ash behind, which is called fly ash, and it is as strong as cement in structure. So Quakeway actually has a power plant nearby, and that is the thing which led us to use fly ash as one of our materials in building the bricks and the cement for our houses, because there were many qualities for the fly ash we found on the internet which were useful in building a sustainable community. For example, it keeps the houses intact from the outside air. It was almost as soundproof, as well as it has strength which was not even in cement. So most of the time, fly ash has been used, and it was a feasible option because of the power plant nearby Quickie. So that was the whole background why we used fly ash in our design.
Fascinating. So, not only did you design in harmony with the current culture, the rooms the right size, but you found underutilized natural resources in order to build a community. So a very holistic solution. And you put together an estimate. So Shai, back to you, an estimate of the life cycle emissions reduction. I believe it was like 27%. Can you tell me a little bit about how you went about that?
Yes, definitely. So the entire urban plan which we designed, it had a lot of like houses, and it had a houses about like 10 to 15 in one single community which we had on our land. So we kind of mapped those on Google Earth, and the deploying every kind of solutions we found out by using fly ash. We also had replacements for the iron pillars, so we don't have to so because iron pillars, they have to be replaced in about 5 to 10 years, so we found another alternative for them, which was made of a similar it's more tensile, and it doesn't have to be replaced 15 to 20 years, which gave strength to the community. So the entire life cycle of the carbon footprint, it decreased by 27% when we placed our housing plan into it. Also, a lot of urban planning went into it about the green spaces we are going to have, or the transportation systems we are going to utilize in our community, which uses less carbon focused fossil fuels. So our community usually focuses on solar systems and natural gas, which produces less carbon. That was the entire plan, so that we can get the carbon footprint down by 27%.
So Rosemary, let me ask maybe two different sides of the same question. What are you most proud of this design, and are you sharing this design with your fellow citizens there in Zimbabwe? Is there any future for it? Are you seeing any of this come to life?
I'd say what I'm most proud of about our design is that we were able to go outside of the box. So isn't it, we were given resources such as MathWorks to work with, but we also took the initiative to look for other things that would, elevate our design. So I found myself going through Google. Until this date, I don't exactly know how I found Delve. I think I was playing around in Google Earth. But that tool allowed not only myself, but myself and Shai to see the solar potential within the land that we're trying to do, because it allowed us to see the light hours virtually in real time and to see the shadow hours. It also allowed us to have a small model calculating our embodied emissions. Embodied emissions, as Shai had talked about, the natural gas that almost every household uses in place of electricity, cut down electricity costs, we could calculate how much embodied emissions will we reduce, because when it comes to carbon footprint, you have the embodied emissions from the buildings, and then you have emissions from the cars outside, and you also have emissions. Funny enough, you could add to the carbon cycle through the food that you eat or processed foods. So that's one of the things that we're thinking about when we're putting our design together. And the 27% reduction was us looking at, well, over time, we look forward to replacing that natural gas for good and having more of the solar energy in there. If we do not have the solar energy in there, we have to look for alternative renewable energy sources, which are quite plenty and still developing. So I would say that's something that I was really proud of, and we managed to pull through. It was a tough semester, a tough one, and getting the project together was really tough. It looks simple in a PowerPoint, but it was tough in the background. I would say that's something I'm most proud about. Then when it comes to sharing the design with people in my city, I do look forward to sharing the plans with people within my city, because currently we have lots of development being done within the city. We have stands opening up near campuses, and in the same area that we planned on, they pegged all of the stands there. So they're being sold currently, and it's a plan that I hope can come to life. But I believe that it will come to life, as I've spotted some organizations within my country that are looking into biogas digesters per house, solar energy installations per house, and other real estates that are looking forward to making gated communities. So I definitely see it coming to life in the coming years.
So Shai, I've heard that you met weekly on this project. I heard Rosemary just said it did take some hard work. You had to lean into it, but you had the courage to do it together. Can you give some words of wisdom to students who might be considering entering next year? What are some keys to success? Why should they do this?
Okay, so I would just like to say three things to the students who are going to compete next year. First is that there is a sense of belongingness where you feel wherever you want to kind of go into this area, because as with Rosemary and I, we had kind of a connection with the community we have, because in Zimbabwe as well as in India, the family culture and as the meetings with friends, all of that, those things, they are important, and that is what drives us to make a sustainable community for our family, for our future generations, so that we can provide them with such things which they deserve to have as a global citizen of this earth. So I would say that the sense of belongingness is the most important thing in this competition, that you have to feel it as your own, not as for the sake of some kind of competing with other people. And secondly, a collaboration between the teammates is very important. Communication is very important. If there's something you feel that you are not able to do, just communicate with your team so that you can get a solution by collaboration. That's something really important, and I'm very grateful to Rosemary for this communication that we had throughout the month in which we designed this project. It was a pleasure working with her. And the third thing which I want to say is that uh, there should be a determination in doing so. You have to be consistent. You have to face everything together. You cannot just back out easily. So I would say these three things are the most important while competing in this competition, as it's not just one simple competition. It was for the entire community, and we were responsible for kind of creating an entire community. So that's what I would like to say to the future competitors.
A sense of belonging, commit to create, and then follow through and create. That's wonderful. Uh, so I'm going to ask both of you. I'll start with Rosemary. What was your reaction when you found out you won the grand prize?
So the day that awards were announced, it was Saturday, and for me that was Saturday 3 p.m. in Zimbabwe, and I was watching all the other projects that won prizes. Jellyfish teeth, the one that had was it Imagine, is it a sea moss city?
Seaweed
I
City,
was
correct?
blown away. Seaweed City, I was blown away by their project. And as their presentation was going on, I was just saying, wow, I don't know if we're going to get a chance at this. And I was alone. My mom was laughing at me and saying, oh, I see you have butterflies. But I just wanted to see what other projects were doing that won prizes. And I was also noticing some of the things. So saying, okay, I wish I had done that better, or I wish I had made that, I had done that, sort of that when I did this project. And prize, when I heard Zimbabwe, my mind just said, well, they say Zimbabwe. What if someone else from Zimbabwe registered as well? And my mom was laughing at me. When I heard our names being called out, I was shocked. And my mom snatched my phone, ran to the bedroom where my dad was, and jumped and said, watch your daughter present today. My mom was so excited, and I was still in shock. And right after the awards, I had to take a nap. I napped for about 2 hours and then woke up after digesting that I had just won. And when I woke up, made a LinkedIn post, I made sure I texted Shai, say, Shai. In fact, I might have texted Shai before I slept or after I woke up and said, Shai, we won. And it was morning for Shai. She was also shocked. She's like,
Wow. Shai, what was your reaction?
As she said, she texted me. I just didn't know about what's going on because I checked the LinkedIn one day before, I think so on Friday, that it was the award ceremony, and I was like, I put a reminder to it so that I do not forget to attend. But then it was early in the morning, and I forgot about it because of something. I just like slept late at that night, so I just woke up a bit late, and then. Um, Rosemary, I saw the text, like she was calling me, but I wasn't there. Like, and then I opened the text and she was like, Chai, we won. I'm like, are you are you serious? Like I actually like really? Are you serious? And then I told my dad about it. Like he was just sitting across me. I'm like, Dad, I won this. Like I was so numb at that time. My hands, I couldn't feel my hands. I just like showed to him like we won, literally we won, and he was like, and like so we speak in Hindi with each other. So he said, "Kya baat kar rahi hai?" Like, what are you talking about? And like this was the project we did. He actually had no idea what was I doing throughout the entire time, like in the first 15 days of May, because I was home at that time. So he said, "Really? Like you did that?" And like he was just like, "I'm so proud of you." I was like, I'm going to shout out so bad, like you did that. He was so happy for me. Then I called
I'm
my
happy
mom
for
immediately. Yeah. Then I called my mom immediately, like I won this, and she was she was just for the cloud, like she was so happy.
Well, it should be, and I'm glad you're excited. But I appreciate that it didn't happen by accident. You committed to it. You met weekly, and you put in the effort, and that's truly inspiring. It's interesting. Rosemary said when she was watching the tape of the other entries that oh, I wish I had done this. I wish I had done that. You all are trailblazers. There was no existing award winners when you had to put together your submission, and now the people next year are going to be able to look at what you did this year and say, "Oh, that's where the bar is set." These are the type of things we need to be thinking about: where to get natural resources to build our community, how to make sure that we're designing in harmony with the culture, how to be able to provide reliable electricity so people can connect and get with the education system. So this is really heartwarming, and I'm really happy to hear your stories. Thank you for sharing with us. Thank you for being with us. So there we have our two grand prize award winners in the inaugural Power the Community competition, Rosemary Moyo and Shai Verma, Team Creativity and Sustainability from the University of Connecticut. Thank you so much. Thank you for our sponsors for helping us to have this competition. Chart Industries, Aspen Technologies, Ernst & Young, our software sponsor, MathWorks. I heard Rosemary give a shout out to MathWorks and how she used that in the design. So thank you kindly. Congratulations. You really need to give yourself a round of applause. Do you have any closing comments that you would like to say? Rosemary, you first.
Yes, I would love to say to any of the next aspiring Power the Community competitors, whatever you're given, go beyond the information given. And at times when it gets tough, go back to the why, which is why you're doing this project. What's your main motivation? As you go along the project, at times you feel like quitting, but when you feel like quitting or when you have arguments within the group, go back to your why, and that will put you on a path for success.
Great. Shai, a closing word from you?
Definitely. So I just want to say that this community is for our own future generations which are coming through, and this kind of technology, if it's developed, it can reduce carbon footprints a lot better than that, because again, our future generations are much smarter than us, and they can build even better communities. So I would just say that believe in yourself, and you can make a better future for yourself and all the people on this earth.
Thank you. There you have it. Our two award winners, Rosemary Moyo, Shai Verma from the University of Connecticut, Team Creativity and Sustainability, the inaugural grand prize winner, Energy Innovator Award 2024 for Power of the Community, taking the $10,000 grand prize. Thank you for joining us. A very inspirational story, and we look forward to sharing it and inspiring other students to put together designs that are sustainable and raising energy prosperity for their communities. So thank you very much, and goodbye.